Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mr. Wickham's Virtual Classroom, where today what we're going to be looking at, grade 5, is lesson 5. We're going to look at fraction and decimal benchmarks. A benchmark is basically when you compare something to something else. And so basically what you have, you have a constant and you compare it to that constant. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at two number lines here, okay? Now, here's our benchmark. We're going to compare it to this. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to compare this to this. And so what these are is these are actually benchmarks. Okay, and so what we're going to be doing is we're going to take a look at this bottom number line. And what we're going to ask, and if you notice it's cut into 10 pieces, okay, and you notice this is cut into three, zero, half, one, all right? And what we're saying is 3/10 closer to zero, closer to a half, or is it closer to 1? That's the question. So is it closer to 0, half, or to 1? That's what we would like to know. Well, when I take a look at 3/10, and I kind of go like this. So does it look like it's closer to half, to 0, or to 1 for you? To me, it looks like it's closer to half. Okay? So if I wanted to know where that is on the number line, is it closer to half or 0? That's how I could find out. Okay? But you got to keep it consistent. You have to keep your number lines consistent. So what we're going to do, we're going to take another look at another type of graph. Okay? So we're going to look at the circle graph here. All right? And so what we're going to do is we'll copy it down on a page. And so what it asks is it says 100 people are surveyed. So each one of these little lines on here in the book, little line here, little line here, it's kind of like telling time. Each kind of bigger line represents 5. Okay, so from here to here, well, you can't probably see it that well, but from here to here is 10, 10 people. Okay, that's what it represents, right? So it says about what fraction of the people surveyed would like to have each animal as a pet. What fraction? Well, dog. Dog is kind of this purplish color down here. So I take a look at dog. Well, I see 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and then I got some ones in here. 35, 6, 37, 38. So 38 out of 100 people would like a dog. Okay? Now it says write each fraction as a decimal. Well, what is 38 over 100 as a decimal? Well, if I just divide it, if I divide anything by 100, I need to move the decimal place 2 to the left. So if I do that, my decimal place goes before the 3, so 0.38 is going to be my decimal on that. Now, I know Kendra would be included in this group. Who likes cats? All right, let's take a look at cats. So cats are going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 plus 1, 2. So cats are 32 out of 100. Now what is the decimal for that? The decimal is 0.32. That is what the decimal is, because the decimal place 2 places to the left, it's going to be before the 3. Now let's take a look at the guinea pig. Okay, guinea pig kind of pinkish area right here. So it has approximately 5, 5, 10, 11, 12. There's 2 active 10. So fortunately, the guinea pig is fairly low with 12 over 100. Okay, how do I write 12 over 100 as a decimal? Well, it equals 0.12. All right, 0.12. That's how I would write it as a decimal. Now let's take a look at the rabbit. Oh, rabbit's even smaller. Okay. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is the rabbit. So if I count each one of these little lines, I get 10. So the rabbit is 10 out of 100. And the decimal for that, 0.10. Okay? Again, 2 places to the left. Now let's look at the bird. Okay, so the bird. Let's take a look here. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So the bird is the smallest of all, with 8 out of 100. Now, there's no tenths there. Okay, we're not saying 10, we're not saying 11, we're not 20, 30. There is no tenths, just 8. So if I move my decimal 2 places to the left, it's going to be decimal a blank and then 8. And I've told you before that when we have a blank, we always put a 0 in that blank. So if I have 8 and I move my decimal 1, 2, here's my decimal now, I have a blank sitting here, so that's where we put a 0. Okay, we fill in a 0. So 0.08. So that's how we are converting fractions to decimals. Okay, that's how we do that, by moving the decimal place or by dividing. And when we divide a fraction, that's going to put it into a decimal for us. So for the rest of the time, we're going to just kind of take a look at some benchmarks. So using benchmarks to compare, I wanted to point out that I used a scale of 12 on the ruler. So every 3 centimeters is 1 quarter. So every 1, 2, 3 became a quarter. All right. Now, what I did is, if I wanted to, I could multiply multiply this by 25, and I could get it out of 100, and this would be 25 out of 100. This would be multiplied by 50, so it would be 50 out of 100, and then this would be 75 out of 100. I'm just showing you how I'm getting my decimals, okay? Because it may seem a little ominous, 1 quarter, a half, 3 quarters, but if you think of money, what is a quarter? 25 cents. What is a half a dollar? 50 cents. What is 3/4 of a dollar? 75 cents. Okay? So you can think in terms of money as well. All right? So when we take a look, there's our benchmarks, right? 3/4 is decimal 75, half, decimal 5, quarter, decimal 25. Okay, we need to be sure of that. We need to know those. We need those conversions between the two. All right. So when I take a look at this is in twelfths. All right. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 twelfths. So I have 5 twelfths. 5 twelfths is here. Okay. It's lined up right here. There's 5 twelfths. So what I need to know is 5 twelfths, is it less than or greater than 1 quarter? Well, if you take a look, there's 1 quarter, and it goes past, so it is greater than 1 quarter, but it is less than, it's less than what? Well, is it less than a half? Yes, so less than 0.5 or half. So 5 twelfths, it's not quite half, but it is more than a quarter. So if you had 5 twelfths of a pizza left over, you would have more than a quarter, but you wouldn't have half a pizza. And so what I did is I have a decimal here, or 63. Where does 63 fit in this number? Okay, so let's think in terms of 100. Let's say 63 out of 100. What is that as a decimal, first of all? What is 63 out of 100? What is that as a decimal? Well, it's decimal 0.63. Okay? What I was getting you to do is also, we could fill this out, 50 out of 100, 75 out, and 100 out of 100. Okay? Now, on the number line, where would 63 out of 100 go? Or decimal 63? Where would that go? Would it be in between here? In between a quarter and a half? I don't think so, because decimal 6 is definitely bigger than decimal 5. But it's not as big as decimal 75. So decimal 63 would actually probably fit pretty much right in the middle between 0.5 and 0.75. So if I was to put in 0.63, I'd probably slot it in right here, which would be 63 out of 100. Okay, definitely in between these two numbers right here. Now, I don't think that you should have a problem as long as you are using. I would use this number line right here. This is a good one to always use. Quarter, half, 3/4, a whole. Okay, use that number line because your other questions in your work are going to ask you which benchmark is each fraction closest to. So is it closer to quarter, half, 3/4, 1, or is it closest to 0? Okay, and the question 1A, if you count the tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to put the book down here so you can see it. So when you take a look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, 9 times 7 is actually 63, which is the example I just shared with you. And so 63, or decimal 63, which is what we said, was, so is it closer to 0.75 or is it closer to 0.5? I would have to say, because decimal 75 minus decimal 63 is decimal 12, decimal 63 minus decimal 50 is decimal 13, so therefore it's closer to decimal 75. That's what it's closest to. Okay? So as you move throughout this, be thinking, be aware, and remember that you can always watch this video if you need to. So that's all I have for you today. I will put the practice up on Google Classroom. And remember that I am live on Google Meet from 11 to 1